horror fiends. Welcome to the Evil Popcorn podcast. I'm the Baron. I'm hosting this episode of the Evil Popcorn podcast with a movie called Red Curtain Hell. Also on the screen here in various directions, I don't know where they are on the video, we've got Mr. Popcorn and we've got Scream Queen. I'm pointing in my direction, so that's all fine. Say hello, people.
Hello. Hi, Scream
Yes.
Queen.
Hello, Scream Queen. Hello, Baron. It's
Hello.
me, Mr. Popcorn.
Yes.
This movie's funny.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And I like that it's local as well and it's funny. And it was actually quite good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's
I
no,
appreciate
there
that.
was no, how do you call it? Like, it's not chip on the shoulder, cultural cringe, local cultural cringe. No, not at all. Yeah, no, I didn't.
Oh, good.
No.
Good.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
Scream Queen?
As I was gonna say, as someone who has worked in that space, shout out Beanley Theatre. It was pretty sort of astonishing to see them walking around. Like, I used to do rehearsals in the green room, and it was sort of bizarre to see it as a set for a film. So I definitely appreciated that.
Yeah, I think we cheated a little bit with a couple of the spaces emptying into other spaces they didn't. But yeah, other than that, it was as you see it.
Pretty fun.
So yes. All right, so should we get straight into it?
Yeah, let's go
yeah,
for it.
sure. But how did this film come about? Like, what is it? Who's in it?
Let's give you a little bit of history on the film.
Do. Yeah.
All right, so the film is called Red Curtain Hell. It's available on Vimeo. You can buy it or rent it. If you do a search, you will certainly find it. I dare say we'll be able to put it in the show notes. It was filmed and released around 2016. The director of the show is Shane Anderson. He's also one of the writers, along with Kieran Davey. The budget of the film was about $20,000, which Shane and his family mostly covered.
Okay.
It was shot, as Scream Queen says, in the Beanley Theatre over the course of about 5 or 6 weeks. Now, the other reason I picked this is because I'm in it. So I was there for 4 shooting days over that time, generally a Sunday, because Beanley was less busy there on the Sundays. It was easier to be able to shoot. One of the things that did happen during the film that made things a little bit difficult on one of the days is the committee for the Beanley Theatre turned up and wanted to have their AGM while we were filming, so that made it a little bit difficult on one day. And we did have, I believe, there's a church next door.
Yeah.
And
Across
there
the
was
street.
there's one particular night there was a lot of noise that was making things more difficult to film, but otherwise it was good. So the film itself is set around a gritty and modern retelling of the Hamlet story from Shakespeare, cut down from its usual.
We all know the one.
The 4-hour length to about an hour and a half with intermission. And
I have a note. Sorry, I said I personally wish that I wish all Shakespeare. Look, I like me some Shakespeare, but I wish it was all an hour and a half. That would be great.
Everything should be an hour and a half. An hour and a half, hour 40 max.
Every media, every piece of media should be an hour and a half. Yes, so if our episodes go over
Evil Popcorn declares anything over an hour 40 be not just cancelled, eradicated. Yes, won't even exist.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Now, a couple of interesting factors. I am literally wearing the piece of wardrobe that I wore in the movie.
Yeah.
I got this made for the movie. A little bit of background when people watch this. The character that I'm playing is called Lawrence. He is a theatre administrator. He has a twin brother called Gregory. So it's Lawrence Oldman and Gregory Oldman. Now, Gregory Oldman was supposed to be the villain in Shane Anderson's first film that didn't get off the ground. It was within 2 weeks of principal photography and it fell apart due to internal politics. So Gregory Oldman, being the kind of person that he is, who's the villain of a film called Carols, where there were choir people. For Christmas one year, he gave Lawrence a promotional shirt for the Oldman's Golden Voice Choir. So that's what Lawrence is wearing in the movie. So it's a little bit of a background joke for me, and maybe Shane.
Yeah, I like that. That's nice.
So yes,
little Easter egg.
Yeah, a little bit of an Easter egg. I do like doing that when I play roles. I like to have something that's in my head that's just for me. It makes my thing that is a little bit richer. So that's great. So yes, all right. So set in.
If I may, your character was I know your character type. I've met your character type. I'm sure Scream Queen has as well. Played very convincingly. Like, don't have to go into huge detail, but like, did you just, play off the type that you have experienced, or did you just go the natural route for that?
No, I did try to channel a couple of people I've met in various community theatres. But the kind of person that isn't necessarily in the production, but still sees themselves as a creative, but isn't necessarily a creative.
Yeah.
So,
don't have to go through names or anything. Just curious.
Yeah, no. He probably was an actor when he was younger, but not a great actor.
Okay. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah. If he was in a Pratchett, he'd have played Sergeant Colin rather than Vimes. Like he'd have been an also ran or a co-star. So yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now a couple of interesting things. The movie runs in real time, in inverted commas. Anytime you see a phone screen, it was very carefully set so that the phone screen reflected the time during the performance. So if people want to keep an eye out for that when they're watching it.
Cool details. Okay.
And a number of the characters in Red Curtain Hell are reflective of characters from Carols, as in not characters from the movie, but characters that were involved with the film. So so there's some
drama.
I will say no more about that. I will name no names, but it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
So yes, so Hamlet. So it's very Shakespearean. Red Curtain Hell, very Shakespearean in its language.
It's a tragedy.
Yeah. So yes, 2016 to 2017. It's available on Vimeo. We've done that. $20,000 budget. So we'll get to the very start. So we see Harrison Cooper Reed, the director of this gritty and modern retelling of Hamlet, arriving outside the theater in a okay car with some bird poo on the bonnet. Like doesn't seem to sort of care that much about the car, which is fine. As we come in through the foyer, we see the counterperson arguing with someone that didn't read the sign about the assigned seating. The counterperson is Shane Anderson, which is the director and writer.
Fun little cameo.
Yes. And the first 22 and a half minutes of the film is made to look like a single shot.
Yeah, I was going to say the POV one take was very stress inducing in a good way.
Okay.
I was just like, oh God, this impending doom of this show.
Yeah.
It was great. And we see you, of course.
Yes. Yeah. I'm there with the representatives from the National Theatre. National Theatre. They're a bit of a chorus group, like a Greek chorus group, through the film and giving different sort of stories. The opening shot, though it's 22 and a half minutes in one, it's actually 15 separate shots.
Nice.
Very
well done.
If you want to try and find them.
And the reason, sorry,
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say, in that first scene where you meet the National Theatre representatives and Scott is there playing Lawrence, you're trying to get a word in edgewise, and Harrison keeps interrupting you, and I wrote down, this must be like what it's like to do a podcast with me.
Good note.
So just want to throw that in there. I was like, wow, this is really I'm going method as an audience member for this. Really immersed me in it.
Yeah.
The Greek chorus there, the National Theatre execs suits. Now they supply some of the stakes, a lot of the stakes for this production, because isn't it they're going to get money, or they're going to get, I mean, what do they get? They get the approval of this chorus, so to speak.
Well, so Harrison Cooper Reed wants to move up from community theatre to theatre on a state and national stage. So he sees this as his out from being stuck in a tiny stage to going to QPAC and the convention center and all that sort of thing.
But it's his escape, not anyone else's.
This
is self-centered. He thinks a lot of himself. He thinks he quite the genius, quite the
Every time he speaks, I'm like, I've met this man.
Absolutely. Again, yes, and again, I mean, like
it's the scarf, and
it's the right amount of exaggeration and camp as well. It's not too much, but just enough to be able to sink your teeth in just a little. Yeah, so it tastes good.
Yeah.
I was impressed with that, because it's very easy to go overboard in this, and it just becomes ridiculous.
Yeah,
I found myself for the longest time after doing the movie doing his little thumbs up.
That was the little hilarious. He plays it so well.
It's like George Bush Jr. W.
The politician.
That's taken from him, I reckon.
Yeah. So that's Justin Harriman. He's a spectacular actor. He's great. I've seen him in other stuff as well, and he made Harrison come to life.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Terrifying.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or Harry, as everybody else calls him.
Yeah.
So yes.
Shout out, good job. But please continue.
So we've mentioned that he's cut all the boring bits out of Hamlet. I did take the opportunity while we were doing this to have a reread of the play, and I was trying to work out which bits he would have cut, and I couldn't really come up with anything. There's a lot of dialogue he probably would have cut, but it's not. It's all necessary.
Is that even? Can you even do that? Is that even legal?
Huh?
No.
Oh yeah, of course.
Of
course you can.
I just knew
it's Harrison Cooper Reed's Hamlet.
Yeah, so he adapted it. I guess you can do that. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what his little estate is like.
I hear what you're saying, Baron, but have you seen Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet? The 4-hour. It's a lot. Yeah. This is just me, but I mean very subjective, because I want to cancel everything over an hour 40. Even though I do like Shakespeare. I'm a competition. I love Shakespeare. It's the best. Yeah. I like Hamlet, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But
I'm a much ado about nothing guy.
Okay.
I know it's basic, but I love Romeo and Juliet. I really do.
Sure.
I love that show. Yeah.
Do you like Baz Luhrmann's?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Carry on, please. Yeah.
All right. So we're in the theatre proper. We're seeing some of the dramatis personae. We're meeting them all in sort of little flashes as they go through, and we're getting a bit of an idea of the personalities. Then Harrison heads into the theatre. It's the floor is squelchy, which is a little bit of foreshadowing there. So someone's
with water
shampooing the carpet. The carpet's been shampooed.
Yeah. And it's spotted. Yeah. There's a lot of not tomfoolery is not the right word, but a lot of mishaps. This is
hijinks,
comedy of errors and hijinks to build this thing. You know what I mean? That's where you're talking about the stress coming there, accentuated by the single shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cool. There's some definite, thought went into the production based on what the resources had, which is got to respect that. Got to respect that. Yeah.
So, and it's a slice of time movie as well. It runs to the time.
Yeah,
the play. So
yeah.
anytime something's happening on stage, if they're doing something backstage, there's no messing about with time. It's all to time.
And this is Shane Anderson, and this is like, does he like to challenge? Does he like to set these parameters, these challenges, if you will, as a director to interest himself and to make something interesting? Do you think? Is this?
I think it was definitely done to showcase the world in an interesting way. So rather than like in Game of Thrones, all of a sudden they've traveled 400 miles in the space of a night. Well, that doesn't really be interesting, but to be able to go at any point in this film, you can work out where you are because it's slice of time, and it's just a little bubble of a world.
Yeah. Okay, I get.
So
which I
think,
guess is
that's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Done on purpose.
Yeah, it's very Shakespearean in a way.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the whole theme of this. Everything is Shakespearean. Even the normal language that the people are speaking when not on stage has Shakespearean overtones. Okay, so we see Harrison go up and talk to our lighting booth guy.
It has Shakespearean overtones meets Home and Away and Quentin Tarantino mixed in.
Yeah. All right, so we meet Tom, the lighting booth guy. Yes. There we go. Scorchy floor. We've done that.
Yeah. Curly guy.
So now we head backstage, and I put a note here: Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are backstage.
Yeah, very good.
So we have two Rosencrantz and Guildensterns. Basically, we have the actual Rosencrantz and Guildensterns that are in the play, and we have Chanster and the I'm going to forget his name. We have the two backstage guys.
Sorry,
what's that?
Chanstar Anderson.
Yeah, Chanster. I've always known him as Chanster. Where'd we go? I want to get his name right.
And I think Sam. What's his last name? Piaggio. It's Italian.
Piaggio.
Is that the lighting booth?
Chancellor Anderson. Yeah. So Tom in the lighting booth is Sam Piaggio.
Yes, I worked with him at Boggo Road. I worked with him at Boggo Road Jail, Sam. And Chancellor is my boss's brother.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So Chancellor Anderson, yes.
Brisbane's a small.
It is.
So we meet the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of the people, not of the play. Then we meet his mum. We meet Harrison's mum, and she's definitely a director's mum.
Yeah.
Obviously been in the theatre a very long time.
Yeah, she's stage manager.
No. That's Pam. So I'm with
you. Sorry, my bad. Yep, carry on. I'm with you.
Yep. Okay. Go. We meet the diva, Rita Artman, who is playing Natalie.
Yeah.
And we have that wonderful scene where Harrison just proves himself to be the biggest prick on the planet.
Awful. He's so awful.
Giving notes that he shouldn't be giving, making comparisons to things that he shouldn't, that are definitely not PC in any way whatsoever. Like just proving himself to be a douchebag of the highest order. So there we go. Another interesting piece here: the light that falls down, the light that the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are working on the ladder. I built that in my backyard to be safe to be dropped on someone, so it's not a full weight light. Okay, so we leave Harrison at that point and we move on to Natalie. She's looking for her showmance Roman, who is playing Hamlet. And we get more of, this is my night, I make this show. Like everybody's got ownership of the show, and they've all generally got a quote that they say throughout for that one.
Ego's vomiting everywhere, basically, at this point.
Yeah. Also, can I just say, like, we know that Harrison is a crock, but the costume design of the show, I know I'm getting meta here, but white shirts and ties for Hamlet, ridiculous. I get it. It's supposed to be this grit. It's perfect. It's like, it's so good. Like this production would get made by that kind of director. Like it's so it's they nail it. And I was just looking at the dressing room and the costumes, and I was like, this is awful. This is awful. This show is ridiculous already. I haven't even seen it, but I know it's a disaster.
And he thinks it's avant-garde, like the National Theatre. Like he's watched the thing on the screen, subscribed, and goes, "Oh, that's kind of how
this is going to change people's lives."
Saw that with Jane Eyre. Throw it there, and the civilian clothing to represent whatever. But
and the hoodies
potentially so.
It's ridiculous. I loved it.
The quote was a raw, gritty, and realistic show, followed by gritty and complex vision for the show.
He loves the word gritty.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gritty about a white t-shirt, a white shirt and a tie, but
well, it's raw and gritty. Well, it's realistic.
With like a raincoat and a rack.
It's complex.
It's very complex. Sorry, I can't understand it. I don't think. It's too complex for me.
Again, then we're in a perfect parody of what we've all seen before. Certainly,
exactly. So good. Yeah. We've all done community theatre. That's what I loved about this.
Amateur repertory student theatre. Yeah.
Now, one interesting thing, Rita Artman, who plays Natalie, also did a film called Australians with the word aliens. Australians. Also filmed in Brisbane. It's quite good. It's a good sort of comedy sci-fi. So yes. Then we see the literal Chekhov's gun.
That?
I mean,
the literal the gun, the real gun that the stage doofuses have. So literally a Chekhov's gun.
My memory is a bit vague with it because I was trying to see it today, but I didn't get a chance to. So I haven't seen it, but it was about a week ago. So sorry if I asked for it.
It's all good. No, it's all good. All right, so this is my night. Harrison is awful. I make this show, bitchy gossip. So then we see the scene. We're seeing the scene with Natalie and her understudy, which obviously the understudy wants to be the star, and she's trying her best to destabilize Natalie.
Literally.
Yeah.
What did you think of her screen queen?
Well, first of all, I thought it was very funny. I just think it's so spot on to what the sort of culture is. Again, I have a deep respect for community theatre. I just want to preface everything I'm saying. We've all worked in community theatre. It's the reason why we all do what we do. It's the reason everyone gets into the arts, pretty much. It's like, it's great. But the gossip and the drama that happens behind the scenes is rife, and it's so like, it's such a perfect parody of like the little back and forth that goes on. And this she's plays so well, like there's sort of like bitchy tone she's got going. I very much enjoyed. I did have one thought though. I was like, does this pass the Bechdel test? I know it's, but I don't think it does.
No, because they're talking about Roman for most of it.
Yeah, I don't think any of the women, when they talk to each other, talk about anything except Roman, which I found interesting. Like, I know that's not what this show is about, but I was like, this is very man focused, and that's fine because so's Hamlet.
Yeah, true.
But I was just like, this definitely doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
Could you explain Sorry, could you explain what that test is for our listeners and for people like me who do not know?
Yes, yeah. So I can't say it didn't start. Alison Bechdel, she's I think a comic illustrator. She did like, I think Fun Home is an based on an Alison Bechdel comic. She's a queer artist that basically her ideas were taken and have become this thing in film where, like, to sort of test, I guess, like how feminist a piece of media is, by the women, if like how many women are in the movie, first of all, and if those women can have conversations with each other that aren't about the men in the film, it passed the Bechdel test. So if those women are talking, but they're talking about men, it doesn't pass the Bechdel test. But if they are talking about just other things in their lives, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, technically, the opening to Baby Got Back passes the Bechdel test. I prefer the Mako-Mori test. The Mako-Mori test is a film or television show has to have at least one female character, and this character has an independent plot arc, and that the character of her arc does not simply exist to support a male character's plot arc. And I think Natalie fulfills the Mako-Mori test. So Mako-Mori is a character from giant robots fighting giant monsters. Was it Pacific Rim?
Yeah, that's
my personal opinion. As a white male, middle-aged white man.
That's okay. Look, Alison Bechdel didn't intend for the Bechdel test to even become a thing, but it has.
No.
So
maybe to Shane, because it's Shane, yeah. Maybe
Shane,
Shane's credit, he was looking at Hamlet and like how absurd Hamlet is, and how the fawning, the obsession, the sycophancy, if that's a word, towards Hamlet is ridiculous, and wanted to emulate that here in Red Curtain Hell, because it is ridiculous. And who is the chap who plays what's his name, Roman, the character?
The character of Roman, I've got the list here, is Jonathan Tuck.
Because he does it very well. He does it very well. Set up perfectly. And he's a good-looking chap as well, and he knows his angles, so he knows how to work it for the camera to make it even that more kind of like sycophantic what's going on. Because it's not too much. There's no real male gazy stuff going on. I was happy. Not really, no, you know what I mean? There was no lingering shots, shall we say, with the camera unnecessarily,
and also Shane is an LGBTQ person, and likes to put those sort of themes in the movie. So obviously that's one of the things that comes up throughout the film.
Loved.
Although Roman is a hoe bag.
Yeah, I literally, where we're up to, I have a note that just says, "Who isn't Roman hooking up with?" Like, he is a hoe bag. Like, he's crazy. He's duping people left and right.
Well, and duping them.
Yeah, he really is duping them.
I don't know why that's a thing. So Danny Hahn plays Jemima, who is the understudy. She does an amazing job.
She's great. She's really good.
Yeah,
I was getting some real sort of Fairuza Balk from the Craft kind of feeling from the way she looked with the makeup and the hair.
Yeah, I'm with you, definitely. Yeah, if we had 90, that look up. Yeah, out of school. Definitely.
All right, so then we get to see the stage manager, Pammy or Pamela. Harrison obviously calls her Pamela because he's got to think about names. Everyone else calls her Pammy, except for Simon, who calls her Mum.
That's who I was thinking.
But there's a lot of gossip, and there's a lot of scandal, and this is where it all starts to build up, where we see these these conversations, and the foreshadowing and the gossip just sort of builds throughout the first half of the film. I've put a note here. Yay, it's me again. So I must have come back on the screen at this stage to have my little conversation with
Pam. Yeah.
Behind at side of stage.
Yes, that's how. Yeah. information the whispers carry from backstage to backstage. Yes.
Now I ad-libbed a line here that got left in,
what was it?
which people thought that it was really nice foreshadowing. I say to Pam, because we're talking about her getting her own show, I say you'll get your shot. Okay. And then, of course, spoilers, later on in the film, she gets shot.
Yeah.
He does.
So yes, because I'd read the script over and over again when I was learning my lines, and I thought it'd be really funny because there's all these people you don't blow your balls off. Like there's all these comments that relate to how the person is going to end up getting killed.
Yeah, I do really like the way they sort of breadcrumb the information along the way. I thought that was really nice.
All right, then it's curtains up in 1 minute. That's where I've written raw, gritty, and realistic, gritty and complex vision for the show. And
it must be gritty.
That's where the 22.5-minute single shot finishes. So with fade to black, curtains up.
And you can breathe a sigh of relief.
Because
if we may know, how many cuts were in there?
15.
15, okay. And how many minutes?
15 edits. 22 and a half. 22:20.
Okay. That's pretty good. Yeah. Because I didn't spot any. Not that
I think I saw one, but that's probably the only one I noticed.
I really easily spot the ones I was involved with.
Yeah.
Because I can remember where the camera was. So yeah. One of the things that the actors, the sort of background, other characters were saying, some of the actors were saying they find it really difficult to do terrible acting.
Sure.
So we see them obviously performing in a community theatre, but they're not great. And they don't remember their lines. They don't know where they're up to in the script. They're talking over one another.
Yeah, no, I'd be really pissed off.
I was cringing real world. As I was in my director brain of Jesus Christ. And I made a note of this. No, everyone in community theatre that I know or have worked with is so much more professional than this.
Yeah.
You especially the SM and behind the scenes and everything, so switched on, so on top of it. So just giving all of themselves to the cast and director. It's I was just this is insane.
This is where the comedy starts ramping though with this as well, because this is Baron, what would you call this? How would you definitively define this genre wise?
I'd call it a black comedy.
Black comedy? Is it a horror?
Yeah. It has horrific elements, yes.
Black comedy.
I wouldn't call it
a comedy with horrific.
I wouldn't call it a plain horror.
Cool.
Curtains up.
Yeah, cool. Carry on.
The audience is obviously uncomfortable. It was really good to get those extras in on the final night of shooting to have an audience, and they were just told to fidget, and they were left alone for ages, and it was the cameras were still on, so we could get some shots of the audience just being not quite an audience, if that makes sense. We obviously see Harrison sitting in his seat. He's nicely lit throughout, just to let you know that he's special.
He's spotlit.
Yeah. The cracks are beginning to form in Natalie, and this is the point at which we see Jemima give someone else's psychoactive substance to Natalie and advise her it's just like a Xanax. It's fine. Just take one whenever you feel a bit down. So yes.
Didn't even read the bottle.
No. It looked like a Nurofen bottle to me with the blue top.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's my person.
Now we see that Simon and Roman are explicitly together.
Yeah.
Explicitly, the way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
What year is this?
Because I called it, because when they come out, Roman's missing, and he comes out and they're looking all sort of disheveled. I'm like, something gay is going on here. And also he's everyone. He's sleeping with everyone.
Yeah.
He must eat a lot of potassium. Like he's like
that's awful.
Going all night.
About that, but yeah,
the stamina and to have to go and perform Hamlet. Thank God they cut it
thinks he's
down.
Dionysus, basically, is what he thinks.
Yeah.
He thinks
it's
he's the god.
The ego. I feel like some people that play lead roles, they really do feel like
oh
that,
yeah,
though.
totally. No, I remember like theatre school, like I did, it was called Hagley Theatre Community. Hagley Theatre Company was part of Hagley Community College in Christchurch, New Zealand. 1819, so a while ago, let's just say that. And I was about 18 to 19 and then 20 to 25. I did 2 stints there. And people would be arguing and having wars all the time about who would get the lead roles, and the politics were just absolutely rife. And this was around this age, and this was from a 9 to 5 experience of this, because you'd be training Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, basically, then putting on shows, coming there at night, that sort of thing. So definitely, this was these elements are all there, sometimes cornied up and Shakespeare up, but main point being, no, people would kill each other over lead roles, definitely, and friendships would end, relationships would end.
Oh yeah. Showmancers cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so the scene,
showmancers. You don't have to talk about it, but I'm going to bring it up.
Okay. The scene is late, obviously, due to the fucking.
Yes.
And we see the foreshadowing of the shovel, which will become more important later on.
Love.
It is revealed by Chancellor's character that I believe he's called John, that not even the smoke alarms work in the theater. So there's obviously this theater's falling to pieces.
Oh yeah, no, it's hazardous.
Yeah. Then we see the underwear scene between Ophelia and Hamlet, or between Natalie. It's more realistically between Natalie and Roman, which Pammy doesn't like, but that Harrison has asked for via phone from the audience. Who has their phone? Oh, that was my other thing. Who has their phone on during a performance? Who has it even on them?
I was just like, there's so much talking backstage. They're using their phones.
This is.
I know it's supposed to be. I know, but it was my fight or flight was activated.
We all feel anxious about it because it's fucking crazy. You would never do that. You'd be killed. Never work again.
Well, I just finished the season of Speed the Movie, the play. Now, every night that we did the show, and some nights we did multiple performances in a night, my phone would go in my my clothing box for my props and stuff, and it wouldn't come out until after the show. Like I didn't even access my phone during the breaks between shows when I could have. So I'm super professional.
That's hardcore.
Yeah. I didn't think of it. We were busy resetting and all that sort of stuff. Like I didn't even think of it. But yeah, like there's a lot of phone use, and there's a lot. Like obviously, it becomes a plot point where Natalie has has Roman's phone, and she's trying to find out who he's sleeping with.
Humorous moments trying to unlock the phone. Yeah.
And then it runs out of power. Oh no, it runs out of power. Then she's got to find a charger. Yes. Okay, so there's a comment from one of the characters. They're all dead tonight, which is foreshadowing again. We see the revenge plot from the three witches. The three witches in the dressing room.
I need to freshen up on my Hamlet
Well, that was
that's Macbeth.
Oh,
right?
Macbeth.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the
On,
witches are from the Scottish play.
yeah, you're right. Sorry, the Scottish play.
Yeah, it's all good. We're not in a perform. We're not in it. So hang on.
This is
Macbeth,
film, not
Macbeth,
theatre. This is film, not theatre.
Macbeth. I'm making people uncomfortable. Okay. So now we go back to Natalie and we hit the Dutch tilt. We hit the psychedelic lighting, and she literally goes sideways.
Yeah.
So yes.
I did find the sideways shot a little jarring for the duration, as long as it was, but I think that's probably the point. I found it hard to sort of figure out what was
where are we up to? Are we at the end? We're not right at the end, are we?
No, we're just about coming to the intermission.
Sorry, carry on.
So we're not quite halfway through at this point. That's where I put the note here that the phone times were correct to the stage of the movie and the performance on the night. So we do see quite clearly the screen when Natalie's trying to access Roman's phone, and it has the correct time on it. So we go to intermission, where Harrison, while there is probably still audience sitting in the auditorium, is screaming at his cast from behind what is obviously just
right.
a curtain.
No, they're basically like loud whispering, "Get off the stage!" Whilst people are sitting right there, whilst the international theatre people, often.
Bonkers.
Yes,
it does give you.
So I've put a note here. Great pep talk, Harrison.
Yeah.
What did he say? What the fuck was that? Is that how he?
Yeah.
You're all fucking this up.
What the living fuck was that? Something like that. Yeah.
He says something super awful.
It was real offensive. Yeah, real belittling.
It's terrible.
Yeah, which happens. Yeah, I will say it.
Yeah.
No,
it does.
It happens.
Yeah. So then Natalie and Roman finally have a chance, not inside the show, to have a meet up and they have a bit of a conversation. Pamela takes Simon's phone, I believe, at this point. So she's having a conversation with her son. Obviously, she thinks he's a dickhead. He does kind of play a bit of a dickhead. Let's see. Then we have a conversation between Harrison and Natalie while she's freaking out. It escalates into a physical attack. She tries to hit him with a shovel, and Harrison takes the shovel from her. That's when Daryl Plumridge intercedes. He's playing Tristan, who's playing the king, Hamlet's father.
Oh, was that Daryl?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Didn't recognize it. Okay.
Really, really, really strong performance.
Yeah.
No,
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
This is so local. Sorry for anyone who's not for Brisbane. Yeah. That's in-house references for shit we're making. Yeah.
So it's then the point at which Harrison gestures dramatically with the shovel and cuts off 4 of Tristan's fingers.
Yeah.
The effects, the practical effects for that were great, so good.
They were good, and the barely a reaction to this cutting off was really good as well. Yeah, I like that.
So then we have Harrison choking out Tristan. I don't know whether he's dead.
Quite violently, at this point, the intent to fuck up. Yeah, fuck them. Up.
Yeah.
I think he's dead.
I'd like to think he survived, but then he probably would have bled out anyway if he was unconscious. So I think he's dead.
This is where it gets real Shakespearean, Quentin Tarantino-y.
And this is where the horror elements start to come in a bit stronger.
I think going into it, I think I expected more of a horror comedy. So I think I was wanting that first kill a little bit earlier, because it does come an hour into the movie, I think. About an hour in. And it's worth it, but I think I was expecting those elements a little bit sooner
Yeah. Okay.
to ramp up a little bit more.
Is this?
I like the shock of the fingers.
Oh, I do too. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. They're worth it and well done, well executed. But this is definitely, as you said, Baron, earlier, comedy with horrific elements, not a horror comedy scripting like Evil Dead. Yeah. Where there's horror, Evil Dead 2, horror comedy the whole time.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
So the fingers get cut off. Fingers get cut off, and then Harrison picks them up in like a scarf and takes them to the dressing room. How does he think they're going to go down that drain? Like, they're not going to go down the drain.
That's right. Let's put them down the drain.
Who does that? He fills the sink with water and puts the fingers in, and they kind of sit at the bottom of the sink. Sure. Then there's a couple more foreshadows from the Greek chorus. They're talking about bloodshed and 10,000 volts, which will come back to bite us later, so to speak. The king is dead, long live the king. So Harrison decides he's going to take on the role of the king now that Tristan is unwell. So yes.
Good of him. Good of him to step in there, quite the hero. Brave.
Yes. Yeah.
Alongside his mother.
Yeah, so that's the next. That's the scene I think that gave me the biggest ick in the film.
Now it gets real Shakespeare, real medieval.
Revolting.
So all right. So we go into the second half of the play. Curtain up, and it's the scene between the king and his wife, played by Harrison and his mother, and it's a long kiss. Like, it's not. They could have cheated it. They could have, but it's gritty and realistic, and he wanted the kiss to be real.
Like, we have to do this for the realism of the play.
So his tongue in his mouth.
As said by Pam.
Tonguing his mom.
Yeah. So the actress there is Wendy Spencer, playing Mrs. Reed. She's lovely. I've been in a number of things with her. And played beautifully. Like the stunned mullet look after the kiss on stage is just spectacular.
It is great. Yeah.
It's some excellent face work on that by Wendy.
I love good face.
Then we move to Simon, who has caught feelings for Roman. So the two people in the show that seem to have the feelings for Roman are probably Natalie and Simon. Yes. I think everyone else is just fucking, basically.
Yeah, he's hot. He's the lead.
Yeah. We've got time backstage. Hurry up and wait.
Do you give lessons?
Do you give lessons? I've thought about it. I've thought about. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, he's such an asshole.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's what I put. Theater folks are so horny. Roman needs to stop eating so much potassium. Oh no, he's also fucking Jemima.
If I may, there's a Gothic music artist I like called Sopier. The outfit, they put music out as Sopor Eternus and the Ensemble of Shadows, which is the Eternal Sleep in the Ensemble of Shadows, Anavani. And they said that all actors are whores, especially the male variety. And I think this applies perfectly to this play.
Yeah.
Because that's what we've all experienced behind the scenes.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think my favorite line, one of my favorite lines from this movie is Pam, when she says to Simon, she says, "That's why you didn't take Hamlet, because you'd rather let Hamlet take you."
Yeah.
So good.
I love the fact that she's not worried about him coming out as gay, but she's worried about him being a shit actor.
Yeah, I mean, she's in theater. She gets it. So funny. Like, she's just mad that he didn't take the role of Hamlet.
And this movie, you know, it has all this in it. Yeah, whilst doing a kind of like Kiefer Sutherland 24 Shakespeare behind the scenes play within the play.
Yeah.
It's still all the stuff with
Mousetrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, good. It is good.
Yeah, so I've got Stop Ruining My Show from Pammy. So she's now made it, it's now obviously her show from her words.
Yeah, it's her
Uh,
show.
and then I've got Oh God, Now Jessica. So that's when Roman tracks onto Jessica backstage. I think that's the do you do lessons line.
Yeah, that's right. Doesn't he stop? Doesn't he stop for a moment, then grin to himself, and you see in his face, that's why. It's Jessica.
Yeah. Why not? Why not another one? Yeah. So Jessica, isn't it? Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
Dario.
Yeah. Then Simon comes out to the cast, which begins the final breaking of Natalie, because she now knows 100% who it is. She's still tripping balls, and she's become even more unhinged. She goes to show proof to Harrison Cooper Reed, which we'll call Harry, and then the phone is dead, so she needs to find a charger, which sends her back to the dressing room, where she is attempted to be drowned by Harrison Cooper Reed.
Nice Ophelia moment. I very much enjoyed that. And that's when I was finally clued in. I'm like, oh, Hamlet, I get it.
Oh, he's a twat. I see.
And then they're cutting backwards between the stage and the dressing room with the drowning elements of the show.
Then being like Ophelia's dead, and it's beautiful. And I love the shot of her face in the sink, and like she looks really, this is where she starts to look really terrifying, with the blood sort of like dripping down her face,
and the makeup running down her face.
Awesome. Really
it's also still really over the top at the same time as being very dramatic. It's walking the line, really closely and carefully at this point, but it pulls it off. It pulls it off. Because at the end, it's all out. You know what I mean? All the bad actors just amped up. To
11, to 12 even.
And the death scenes. The death scenes. Award-winning death scenes. Yeah.
So the drowning scene was shot in a fish tank with the camera underneath it.
Nice. Very
And they had to be really, really careful because it was a glass-sided fish tank, so you couldn't really put any weight on. So it was apparently quite difficult to shoot.
Yeah, I mean they pulled it off. So
shout out to them. Especially and everyone else involved.
Yeah. So then
the camera work is amazing. Sorry, just shout out the director of photography. What was his name?
Cinematography by Patrick Coe. Cinematography by Patrick Coe.
It was awesome, especially like ramping up towards the end of the film. It gets very, very delicious.
Creating that bubble. They worked well with Shane there together to create that bubble that we were talking about with space and time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
One venue, because they don't go outside at all, do they?
No, the only time you see the outside is when Harrison arrives in his car.
Enters,
That's it. That's the only exterior, and the gate goes.
And I was like, I've walked that path before.
All right. So now Simon attacks Roman, I believe. Where am I up to? Yep. So Simon is attacked by Roman. So they have a confrontation. Simon reveals to Roman that he's told everybody that they're in love. And Roman is not best pleased. Although, having said that, every interaction between Simon and Roman throughout this film would indicate to me, if I were Roman and not completely self-absorbed, that Simon had caught feelings. Yeah, so Roman's completely self-absorbed and he hasn't noticed.
Absolutely. I thought Roman had caught feelings at some point. He's a trickster.
No, he's just...
Trickster's a good word for it, yes.
Like, I wasn't convinced for long, but I was like, maybe he likes Simon the best of all of them.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have favorites.
No.
Is it Puck or Pan? I know they're the same thing, but which one's in A Midsummer's Night Dream?
Puck,
yeah. Because Puck, it's kind of Puckish behavior.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
For sure.
Yeah. He's been a Puck boy. There we go.
Bug boy.
That's good. I like that.
That's good.
Just put that on a theater T-shirt and spell it BOI. So Puck Boy.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. So then the Harry and Pamela story comes to a head. They've got that. They're having that confrontation side of stage. We discover Natalie isn't dead yet. She comes back from the grave and heads up to the stage. We see a lovely callback to if that table is on stage in the scene, it's going to ruin the whole thing. And we see our Rosencrantz and Guildenstern come from side of stage and pick up the table and take it back, like really obviously.
It's a tiny table, and they do the 1, 2. Oh, so good.
Occupational health and safety is a thing.
Yeah, it's really important. Really important.
Yeah. All right, so then they're attacked from the dark. There's a really nice when she takes I'm gonna say Bob. No, Jake. No, it's not Jake. What's his name? The other backstage guy. Anyway, he doesn't take Chanster first, so takes the other character first from the darkness. It's really nicely done. You don't see her coming up. It's good. Then you see her behind Chanster's character John, and then she takes him, and then she's got the gun. Okay.
Grave.
Yeah. While on stage, we're moving to the sort of end of the play. We're about probably 2/3, 3/4 of the way through the play. There's some obviously toy guns on stage. They're silver revolvers with a red tip, very plasticky. And then Natalie goes to kill and kills the wrong person, and Pamela finally gets her shot. That I ad lib. I loved that. And then
brutal.
And then everyone's dying. She goes up one side of the gantry and along, and people are falling off. They're getting shot.
Yeah, and there's if I may, there's a good amount of blood spatter and gore here that will keep you.
It's great.
Wait for your gore fix. It does happen. Hence why I have the blood spatter behind me here, because it does represent this moment. Carry on, Baron, please.
Yeah, and look, so many people die. Like nearly everybody ends up dead in this. I think at the end, actually, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So Pamela gets her shot. Roman gets his balls blown off, which was a line from earlier in the film. Harrison does 2 comebacks with his dying scene, which is very community theater Shakespearean. So like he's dead, and then he pops up into screen.
Slasher movie mix as well.
Yeah. Double tap.
Yeah.
But he gets his balls blown off, which is fair.
Quentin.
Yeah. Oh, I hadn't drawn that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
All right. So we see no movement. Yeah.
Sorry, Karen.
No, it's all good. So we see no movement. Then Simon appears to have survived. Tom appears to have survived, but the audience seems to think that's all fake. And that's when, hang on, I may have skipped a spot. I have skipped something. Sorry. Okay. So that's when Natalie gets killed by the falling light.
But she does 2 shots to the ceiling.
Yeah, earlier.
That's right. She's
really good. She's crazy.
Yeah.
She's on drugs, she's not thinking.
Yeah, she is on a large amount of drugs and driven.
And she's unhinged emotionally at the same time.
Her performance in this, her descent to madness is delicious. Yeah. It's so
it was a great bend, whatever, on Ophelia. Yeah, if you will.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
She was channeling here.
So she gets hit by the light. She falls into the audience, obviously dead. Then the light hits the stage, falls off the stage, and the wire hits the wet carpet, killing everybody in the audience, including Lawrence.
Wow. I didn't think about that loss.
And then there's red curtain, isn't it?
So Simon gets up, Tom gets up, and the curtains then close.
Yeah.
He looks at his joint, sort of thinking about like, you know,
there's a huge amount of weed
am I
smoke.
imagining this?
Well, like backstage, they're also getting fucking blazed.
Yeah. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are
And the lighted
somewhat
guy.
impaired.
Tom.
Tom up in
just
the booth.
Smoke filling the booth. It's so, and then he's just like, I guess I'll just close the curtains. Slow sort of like,
which makes things extra safe to a crumbling
terrifying.
Run by Pineapple Express.
Yeah. So that brings us to like 88 minutes. So the film was about 88 minutes.
Yeah, good
roll credits.
Lovely. Yeah, lovely and perfect for this sort of thing, for nice romp, basically.
Yeah.
Dark, twisted.
Now, if people are going to Vimeo to watch the film, just be aware there are some extras there as well. There's some outtakes and like a trailer and all that sort of stuff as well. The outtakes are fun. And I believe the outtakes in that are free. You don't have to worry about paying for those. That's like your first taste is free. Like your good average drug dealer will tell you. Not that I've ever partaken. Okay, so yeah, shot in Beenleigh, budget $20,000. It's a Shakespearean story inside a Shakespearean story, with other Shakespearean elements thrown in. I like the lighting states. The score was great, and it never seemed to be intrusive.
No.
So yes.
Yeah.
No. Final thoughts from me. I really enjoyed this, but that may be self-indulgent because I'm in it. But it was fun to make. It was fun to make.
Cool,
what did you think, Mr. Popcorn?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, and that's not an impression or thought on anything. It's just I thought this was really good, and as I've been saying, related to a lot of it, which made it that much more enjoyable. I liked the hyper campness of it, but it was very self-aware, so it never crossed the line too much with it, and the horror was worth waiting for. Everyone did a good job. It was fun recognizing people, even down to like people just sitting in the audience.
Yeah.
So it's good. Thank you for choosing something local. It's quite fun in that way. Like, shall I rate it while I'm here?
Well, let me do actually before we do that. Impressions, Scream Queen.
Yeah.
I thought it was really fun. Again, the like reference, like the sort of like in jokiness of like being in the Brisbane theatre scene is very fun. Just as an audience member, I thought it was really, really great parody, like scarily accurate at some points. My only criticism is that the horror was so good at the end there. Like it was so well executed, like down to like just that when Ophelia has her crazy moment that they keep talking about. It's so good. And I just wish they had more of those horror elements sort of thrown in throughout, because they do it so well. But that's, you mean? Yeah, just like start feeding us those like very well executed gore elements like sooner, just because I loved it so much. But that's my only criticism of it. Because they did it, they're so good at it.
Oh yeah, and it was beautifully done. Now I did have a look at Letterboxd just for a few reviews.
Okay.
Fun.
So I've got 3 here that are interesting. So today was director Shane Anderson's birthday, obviously when they posted this. So in honor of that beautiful creature turning 30, I finally saw his debut feature. And this also counts for my own birthday month, 2021. This was a fun ride, definitely a bit too ambitious for a micro-budget debut feature. Some things land more than others, but you know me, I'm always a sucker for ambition and passion above technical prowess. One thing I genuinely appreciated, though, was how Shane took his time time planting seeds throughout the first half of the movie, from a literal Chekhov's gun to other smaller details, such as the soaked carpeting, that would then pay off in that wickedly chaotic third act.
Yeah.
A teacher of mine at film school used to say, each movie should have at least one moment of true cinema for it to be considered good. Well, those last few minutes in which all the dominoes fall down in perfect unison is Shane's beautiful moment of true, unadulterated cinematic bliss. The characters, even if they're all supposed to be shitty people, which I always enjoy, could have been a bit less shrill. They were always at 11 and it got old real quick, but they were still a kooky collection of monsters I liked seeing on screen. This is quite long, so I'm just going to précis the rest. They do mention that if you are interested to see some of Shane's other work, there is a short film called His Guy Thursday, another one called The Hollow Hours, which I'm also in, are already amongst my most beloved works of queer fiction out there. So it was nice to see where it all started. And his quote is, "Don't do sarcasm, dear. It makes you look fat." So that's a lovely quote. Second review, honestly, if I was in a green room backstage witnessing all the weird shit theater kids get up to, and I noticed 4 dismembered fingers floating in the sink, I'd be like, yeah, that seems about right. And
highly wrong.
And from someone called Shane, I made this one, so is it really fair of me to review it? So that's obviously from Shane Anderson.
Also, sorry I just want to shout out I think what made me laugh the hardest, it was like such a throwaway line, but there's a moment where 2 of like the younger castmates, I can't remember which character, I don't know anyone's names in Hamlet except Hamlet and Ophelia, but they play, the 2 younger guys are like chatting to Harrison's mum, and one of them calls her Mrs. Harrison.
Yeah.
And the other one's like, that's not his name. Like, it's just like such a throwaway line, but it made me giggle. I was like, that's so good.
Yeah, so that was Chris and Mervyn playing Ben and Jake, who are playing, I believe, Laertes and I don't remember the other character, but anyway, yeah. So it's Chris and Mervyn.
That was great.
Very funny guys.
And he sort of mouths, he's like, sorry, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. And I love that. That was a very nice moment.
My moment that I cringe every time I see it, other than Harrison kissing his mum, there's a moment when I'm talking to Pamela in the intermission and I accidentally completely cover her face with my hand. Like I put my hand up to do something and I'm like completely blocking Becky, who's playing Pamela. And every time I see it, I go, oh, God damn it, I should have done that blocking better. But yeah.
I didn't notice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shall we rate it then?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, if I may, for
sure.
20,000, you said the budget was, and it's 88 minutes in length. Shot one location. Yes, shout out to everyone who put that together. Yes, who did the storyboarding there and that space to create, that bubble that we've referenced a couple of times. Now, very effectively and quite expertly done. So bonus points for that. Definitely. And it's all very cohesive, you know what I mean? It's a consistent look, it's a consistent feel and tone, level of quality throughout. The comedy doesn't quite land for me throughout for the whole thing. So I like yourself, Screen Queen, wanting more horror elements in there. But it all made sense why this is a comedy with horrific elements rather than a horror comedy. But for what it is and where it's made, it looks really good. You know what I mean? The product is quite, high quality. So I'm going to give it bonus points for that. So I was just going to give it a 3, which what is it? My phone. Does anyone remember what 3 is? Burnt, flop.
Satisfying.
I think it was satisfying. But no, I'll give it a delicious. No, what's evil? What's 4? Sorry, people.
Yeah, delicious is 4, I think.
And then we should know this. Perfect pop.
I'm giving it a 4. 4 out of 5, a 4 out of
Okay.
5, which is delicious. 5 is evil. So again, 1 is burnt, 2 is flopcorn, 3 is satisfying, 4 is delicious, 5 is evil. I was going to give it just as satisfying, but through what's all been discussed tonight, and Baron, you were there, the behind the scenes. And when you explained to me the 24-hour thing, I had to put that in there because dummy, I didn't spot that. And that added, a nice. I'm very impressed by the bubble. Basically, because of the bubble, it is delicious. I have 4 out of 5.
Okay. Sure.
Very well
Scream
done.
Queen?
Shout out to everyone involved.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gem. Like, it's really beautiful to see something so local. It obviously Undead was local, but this is like like real local.
Yeah. You can get there on a bus.
Yeah, and I have been there on a bus. So that was really beautiful, and it was a really nice world that he created. The references are, like I said, just the dropping the pieces in throughout is beautiful. The performances were great, and the end sequence is like very, very good. I think overall, just because similar to Mr. Popcorn, not everything landed for me. And I did miss that horror element sort of earlier on in the film. I think I'm gonna give it a satisfying, a 3, maybe a little bit like extra satisfying.
You go 3.5.
Yeah, maybe like a 3.5. Yeah. I think that's
which is where I think I land. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to be choppy changey, but yeah.
Nah, still good.
Satisfying.
I mean, I'm not going to take it personally.
Which is good, yeah. But how are you going to rate yourself, Baron? This is what I'm curious to see.
Look, honestly, I had a ton of fun shooting this. I've shown it to a number of people. A little detail I don't think I've revealed before. What I once sat in on a writing course with Alan Dean Foster as part of one of the supernovas. One of the things that Alan Dean Foster does for living money, not necessarily.
Alan Dean Foster, for people who don't know.
He wrote the novel, a lot of novelizations of movies in the 80s and 90s. Like, he wrote the novelization of Aliens.
Okay,
and Alien. Like, he's done a lot of stuff. But yeah, his beer money work is writing novelizations of films. So basically what generally happens, and this is what he revealed in the course, is he'll be given the first shooting script, none of the changes, and will be directed to write the book as quickly as possible so that it comes out around the time that the film comes out. So they're generally pretty plain books because it's coming from a script. So he does a pass where it's just the text. He does a pass where it's the movement, and then he does a pass for each of the senses: sight, sound, touch, and then it does a thoughts pass. So it kind of builds from the skeleton up. So I took that information and the script, and I've written the novelization of the book. Of the movie. I'm not quite finished with it. I've only done 3 of the 5 passes, and I kind of got stymied on it for a while. So, and I've only just recently brought it up, and I should probably finish that. So yeah, so I've written the novelization. So to me, it lives rent free in my head. I couldn't give it anything less than a delicious. I'm probably going to go halfway to evil. So I'm going to give this one a 4.5.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So fair.
Totally get it. You've got that. You were there experience.
Yeah.
Thank you for recommending.
Never would have heard of it otherwise.
Never would have heard of it. And as I say, part of my rating was because it just made me feel proud. It was like, fuck yeah, this came from here.
They did with that budget. They executed some.
Which is great to see. Because from anywhere that I've been, but like I've seen a lot of short films and such, and from here don't always feel proud. I like it when I can with this. absolutely. So Shane and everyone involved, yes, really good job.
So look, that brings us neatly to the end. What are we doing next? I believe we have some plans in place.
Scream Queen, it is your turn in the rotation.
Oh, it is my turn.
To continue with AHS Australian Horror Series.
I actually don't know.
You don't know?
I have
well,
ideas.
If you ever do, well, I do have an option as well, because shout out to shit, I don't have it open in front of me. Slaughterhouse, the distribution company responsible for distributing Slaughterhouse to the media, I guess, and somehow we got chosen. Because Slaughterhouse, it's not a invisible movie. I'm not saying this is like a big movie, but it's not invisible. If you follow YouTube horror channels like Spooky Astronauts, shout out, Possessed by Horror, and it's they're reviewing it, because such movies as the Winnie the Pooh kills all the people movie,
Blood and Honey,
Blood Honey, yeah.
Blood Honey, yeah.
And Cocaine Bear, you could kind of mix in there as well. This is where this comes from. And it's about a sloth in a sorority house. It's a slasher.
So the premise is...
So if we wanted to, I don't know if it has any Australian kind of thing to do with it, that we could link it, but if we could take a break and watch that.
Well, I mean, they did approach us. There's no reason why we shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then that gives Scream Queen some time to think of an Australian film.
There's too many. There's too many good ones.
Put them on a dartboard. Throw a dart.
Yeah.
And also,
I could do that.
What about a conversation before Christmas or around Christmas? Could try and drop a Christmas, close to as
Christmassy
possible.
Conversation.
Best Christmas horror movie. We just got to come with one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and just talk about what
if we all end up with the same one, I'll be very annoyed.
No, we'll discuss.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to listen, because I'm just going to pick one. And if we pick the same one, then so be it.
We could do a whole bunch of suggestions into a hat and pull out 3.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen that many. Again, I don't think I've seen a single movie ever.
There is quite a few. There's quite a few.
No, I know the one I've got picked. So yeah.
It's probably the one I was just thinking of.
No, I bet it's not.
We don't know. Do we, Scream Queen? No.
I'm gonna go with the most obvious, and then Jean can be in the middle, and then Scott can be the most obscure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of obscure. Yeah. But yeah. All right. So we've got a conversation coming up that'll nicely get us into Christmas. We've got Slaughterhouse, and then we start the new year with Scream Queen's first next pick.
Yeah, how about that? Yes, that we should be able to squeeze that in. Yeah, and happy horror days.
Happy horror days.
Happy horror days.
It's actually that time of year now, so
yeah, it really is.
There you go. Don't steal it. There was something that was very close to Happy Horror Days I saw the other day. This is that sounds.
Yes.
Well, this has been Mr. Popcorn, keeping it buttery. Peace.
This has been the Baron. Go.
Sorry, we didn't organize that. We didn't.
No, we didn't. We must do this beforehand.
I'm Scream Queen signing off.
And I'm the Baron. Don't forget to check under the plate in the microwave for your popcorn, because if it spills out, it'll burn the house down.
It's true.
Yeah.
True. Bye.
Bye.